When the former Attorney General Frederick Ruhindi turned up for nomination for the National Resistance Movement parliamentary flag for Nakawa East, in his company was a motley gang of youths ostensibly from the ghettos. Apparently, they were there to show support. The former Deputy Resident City Commissioner for Rubaga Division, Anderson Burora, appeared with double the number of the loud and noisy ghetto youths for his nomination for the Nakawa West NRM parliamentary flag, which he went ahead to win on July 17. When President Museveni appeared at his party's headquarters to pick his nomination forms for party flag bearer on June 28th, his entourage comprised swaths of youth clad in yellow t-shirts cheerleading. Then later in the afternoon, after the merriment at the party headquarters on Chadon Road, the groups of youth were caught on camera turning their wrath onto other passerby, waylaying, clobbering and robbing, including mobile money agents. Both police and the NRM distanced themselves from the groups of youth who menaced the passerby going about their business. Some officials claimed these criminal-minded youths had infiltrated the procession.
Many people who put on yellow. Even when we go to Namugongo, there are many people who put on rosaries.
However, upon arrest and arraignment in court, some youth maintained to have been hired by NRM party officials and paid as much as 20,000 shillings to take part in the cheerleading procession.
I was given 20,000 to put on this t-shirt.
These ugly scenes have raised concern and fears about the likelihood of state-affiliated proxy groups being used actively in the electioneering for the 2026 polls, adding a chapter to the dark past. During the 1996 polls that pitted President Museveni and the DP leading Paul Kawanga Semogere, the state accused the former of creating a youth group to interrupt public life. Consequently, the government went in hard to crack down the Uganda Young Democrats UYD that canvassed for Semogere. On its part, the government relied on taxi operators under the umbrella UTODA to counter the UYD. It was also then that the government allowed traders to trade on the streets willy-nilly as a mass appeal. The emergence of Nasantege Sebagala on the political scene increased the activity of these young groups. Sebagala, who had stood for mayor in 1998, employed young groups to protect his vote. However, the youth groups took a violent turn in the 2001 polls when state-sponsored violence was first introduced into the election process, and momentum has been building since then. The polls pitted President Museveni and his former personal doctor, retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, who has been in jail since last November on treason charges. Besigye broke ranks with the system in 1999 after authoring a critical paper accusing Museveni of betraying the deals of the costly 1981 to 1986 guerrilla war that was triggered by dispute over the 10th December 1980 polls. When Besigye announced contesting in the 2001 polls, along emerged the infamous militia group, the Kalangala Action Plan. The group, composed of the former army personnel led by Major Roland Kakoza Mutale, was accused of antagonizing Besigye and largely opposition activities through intimidation, harassment, attacks and torture. Their violence was felt across the country.
I think the people who talk out to me are the dullest and darkest. They have dark minds.
The Museveni-Besigye duel in the next three presidential election cycles, 2006, 2011 and 2016, has witnessed both state and ragtag non-state groups being employed to menace opposition activities. From the Chiboko squad that emerged in 2007 to help the police against the Antimabira giveaway demos and continue to menace opposition activities until 2010, to the Abdallah Chitata-led Bodaboda 2010 that terrorized the opposition during the 2011 elections and the walk-to-work protests in the immediate aftermath, these groups have left a trail of despair. The former police boss, General Kale Kaihura, hailed the Bodaboda 2010 group for having performed so well in helping to curb crime, despite concerns of attacks on riders who were not members of the group.
His only link to us is that he helps us to fight crime. Because Bodabodas, remember, from 2006, Bodabodas were both, vehicles for criminality. That's how the Red Saraching was killed, remember.
In 2018, the military picked up some of the leadership of the Bodaboda 2010, including its chief coordinator, Abdallah Chitata, and his bodyguard, Sowali Ngobi. The duo was handed 10 years in prison but served 3 years after the sentence was reduced by the appellate division of the General Court Martial, and they were released in 2020. Towards the 2016 polls, a group dubbed Crime Preventers, composed of individuals who were recruited and trained by the police to voluntarily help prevent crime at the community level, became the new faces of terror.
But towards the election, they usually create some militia for purposes of intimidating the population.
It's a civic duty to support us in the maintenance of law and order. So actually, what the crime preventers are doing is enshrined in our constitution.
The existence of crime preventers ran into trouble in 2018 after Kaihura was relieved from police duties. The group, with an estimated 11 million members, was later that year transferred from the police and placed under the Uganda People's Defence Forces Reserve Force. The run-up to the high-octane 2021 polls was marked by an absence of such groups. Rather, state security agencies, including the then chieftains of military intelligence and Special Forces Command, including commandos previously involved in fighting the Al-Shabaab militias in Somalia, were heavily involved in overwhelming the Robert Kyagulanyi largely youthful support base. The 2020-21 general elections were marred by unprecedented bloodshed and violence, with scores of Kyagulanyi's National Unity Platform supporters still missing for half a decade. Some are believed to be dead and others held in safe houses in upcountry locations. With roughly 2 months to the start of the 2026 presidential election campaigns, there are no signs of militia groups that have emerged, but the writing is on the wall that youth groups of the ghettos have become the guns for hire by individual politicians with the intent of intimidation and meting out violence on opponents. Jackson Onyango, NTV.